Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. It's me again, it's Alex Whiteley. And joining me today is Kerry Mitchell from the Paycare Wellbeing scheme. I want to say thank you to Harriet from Zencoms for putting this together. She's awesome. She suggested Kerry, and here we are doing this. So it's awesome. Thank you for joining the show, Kerry.
You're welcome. It's good to meet you, Alex.
Yeah. Well, we like to spread sort of good news and good things that, can help people. And from what I've been reading from the website, from what you guys are doing, the Wellbeing scheme at Paycare, this seems like it could be very helpful to a lot of people, whether you're wanting to help people or whether you need to help yourself.
Yeah.
So can we talk a bit more about sort of like what you do and your role and sort of what this is then?
Yeah, no problem. So I was appointed by Kev at Paycare Wolverhampton to tackle mental health in the Black Country area and beyond. We've seen some statistics, particularly in suicide rates. And also, the main thing is as well is that developing the conversation to support people should they be having a crisis. So my role is a mental health first aid instructor. So I've been going into businesses now for 3.5 years to spread the message, to break stigma, reduce the inequalities towards mental health, because it isn't a rich person's or a poor person's condition. Anybody can develop mental health at any point in their life. It's suggested 1 in 4 experience mental health, but that's the statistics from the Office of National Statistics. It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it, Alex? That we know about. It's the other ones sometimes that we don't know about, who are perhaps sitting quietly with their thoughts. So, going into businesses, spreading the word, and also equipping people with the confidence and the skill set to approach somebody that may be showing emerging signs of perhaps depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, psychosis, and unpacking personality disorders as well, just to give people and equip people with more of an understanding. Because in previous times, as you may know, I definitely know, people can be really stigmatised towards mental health, which can be very cruel in itself. And that could be an emotional snapping or tipping point for somebody who's ready to kind of boil over. Go on, sorry, Alex.
No. I love what you're saying, because I do feel like it's changing for the positive. I do think there's been some positive, especially as far as guys are concerned, because there's always that kind of blokey sort of environment, especially in like those kind of trades where, Shane is my co-host. He's a mechanic. So being around that sort of environment, it's very hard for a guy to sort of open up. And I remember being younger when you talk about mental health or someone that's suffered from mental health, there was a stigma as, be careful what you say sort of thing, but that's changing now because people are talking about it more, aren't they?
Yeah. During the training as well, I encourage a direct approach because that can really preserve life, which is what, Paycare, myself, we are all singing from the same page to encourage and open the conversation. And it can be a game changer for that direct approach. And I agree with you, Alex. With men, I still feel there's probably, if we were to do a poll, a high percentage of men that perhaps don't want to talk about it because of toxic masculinity, because it might be their job role, because it's maybe a high position. Who knows? It could be in all manner of things, but that actually can boil over. And like I said previously, it can cause that emotional snapping.
Absolutely.
And that tipping point. So we're trying to encourage companies, the wider community, and I've loved doing the e-clinics, which we started in September, which we had the idea, let's get some e-clinics running, an hour session, particularly with the way COVID has impacted on people's wellbeing and mental health specifically. It really has been a turbulent time where people are anticipating that anticipatory, perhaps, anxiety with what's going to happen next. So doing these e-clinics has provided us the opportunity to engage with companies, the wider community, to give them a more deeper understanding. And they're starting to really vary, Alex, which is amazing. And we're engaging with other companies, other partners, who can come in and share their expertise as well. So it really does open a platform for others to come in and share what they know, because they might know something different to us. Alex, we don't know. Do you know what I mean? We're forever learning, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
So it really has been fantastic. I think the one before the last, we engaged 50 plus people, organisations, and some charities as well, which was great. We've had some lovely feedback. But going back to the manliness side of it, that is on my agenda to tackle it next year. So we will be working, hopefully, with some organisations that are male heavy, let's say.
There's also the approach from when dealing with women is, especially today, when you've got there's a huge increase in influx of professional women that want to go out there and obviously do the job as equal to men, and there's a lot of pressure there, especially when it comes to having children, postnatal depression, things like that. Is that a big factor as well in today's society?
Yeah, we've actually, you tapping into that point, we've seen there's been an increase in female suicides during lockdown. Yes, it's women. There is a high percentage of women from the last research we looked at from the labour market survey. And it was the age between 35 to 45 where women are experiencing anxiety more than men. So there's a comparison there, but a discrepancy in kind of percentage-wise. Less men were experiencing anxiety and stress, whereas women were experiencing more. And we posed the question on the one before last e-clinic, the November e-clinic, to say, why do you think that is? And a few people said because of sometimes some women, because I'm not going to label anybody, but sometimes some women can be juggling all manner of things, whereas sometimes some men aren't. And also that was the feedback we had from that e-clinic. But the other thing to note about that kind of percentage is women can have a tendency sometimes to talk more and access the doctor quicker than men do. It's noted.
Yes.
Sometimes some men will just kind of let things fester until sometimes a friend of some description will say, I think you really need to go to the doctors. So that's where that kind of percentage was different, and that's what we kind of unpacked.
There are some really old-fashioned sort of stigmas that do come out sort of in social media still, and it does make me angry, especially when it comes to, there was a post I saw recently about a woman that was going to become a kicker for an NFL team, right? A guy's NFL team, she was going to become the kicker. Oh my God, the abuse and the sexist, misogynistic crap that was coming out on that was just horrendous. There was a thing a while ago with David Beckham kissing his daughter on the lips, and people were like, ooh, you shouldn't be doing that. It's just like, it's old-fashioned dinosaur sort of, it's really frustrating to see. And, I'm so glad that there are so many people talking about normal issues in life that people will bring up, rub in your face and be like, that's wrong to do, especially when it comes to domestic violence and guys crying. Just something simple, a guy crying, ooh, that's not a blokey thing to do. Yes, it is. I cry at Batman. I've cried at Batman before, I cry all the time. So it's a normal thing.
Normal, yeah.
Absolutely. When it comes
The thing is, Alex, just to kind of, to stop, to kind of say something there. There's one thing that we all are and probably all have, most of us have, let's say, and that's emotion. And it's being allowed and being confident, whichever one you want to take, to be vulnerable and express those emotions. And people might want to do it on their own, but other people might want to do it. But because we were told at school, boys don't cry, you saying that, there's some really dinosaur approaches towards mental health in men particularly, as we know. I just think, it can really have an impact on men expressing how they really feel. So it's good to know that you cry. at movies and other things.
The movie Creed had me in 5 minutes. Gone. That was a mess.
Oh, love it.
Oh, it's a beautiful film. So when it comes to like the e-clinics and what you guys are doing now, do you feel like COVID has kind of pushed you guys to advance your technology? Because everybody's doing things virtually now. Most of what I've been doing it's been really painful to be doing this over the internet because I missed the studio, but everything's gone virtual now. So would you feel like you've been pushed ahead with it?
Oh, certainly. I think a lot of organisations have. The e-clinics, they were always on our agenda because we offer a taster session before. When we engage with companies, we offer a taster session. So we'll get the company in, we'll bring other companies to network. So that's really what our e-clinics are. They're based on a theme, but it's also an opportunity for people to meet each other as well. Yeah. I only wish they were longer, to be honest with you, Alex. Because I feel sometimes I'm talking at a high speed to get everything through. I just want to unpack everything so people can go away having that bit more confidence.
It should be like, you remember How To, that kids program? They do all the instructions really fast, and you'd have to record it and do it in slow motion. So you get... Just play it back in the half speed. I feel like with today's sort of situation, I think like a couple of years ago, someone was like, "Yeah, I'm going to call you on Skype now. I'm going to call you on Zoom." And I'll be like, "You want to talk to me and see my face? You want to do what?" That's weird. I feel like there's when we come to stigmas and sort of like people, especially anxiety. People that suffer from anxiety, like going to the shop is hard. Going on a bus is hard. Never mind being like, "You want to see my face?" I mean, you don't have to, of course, but it's kind of helped, hasn't it? Like sort of this environment. Yeah.
So I think you can still build rapport, Alex, with it. I really do. I think you can get into rapport with people. Mm-hmm. It's just being in that moment, isn't it? You know, and sometimes people have got so many other things going on in their mind that, you know, they lose that kind of, you know, because life can get very busy and stressful.
I love doing the interviews for the Biscuits, whether it's in person or here, because I feel like the build-up, I mean, just before I was speaking to you, I was typing away on emails, I was scheduling things, I've got things going on Saturday, I'm just moving house at the weekend, so there's lots going on. I've been waiting since January to move into this place. COVID and building regulations and changes have kept us from moving in, so it's a big deal. So there's lots going on in my life, but when I feel like I'm sitting down and I'm having a conversation with you now, Kerry, or whoever comes on the Biscuit, it just stops life for a little bit, slows things down. Let's have a talk. Let's talk about what's going on with you. You know, it's something really powerful about the art of conversation, and that's what I like to display with the show. You know, when it comes to working from home, obviously there's no office camaraderie, but there's also no office friendships anymore. Do you feel like that's a big contributor to the rise in sort of problems with mental health?
Yes, without a shadow of a doubt. I think loneliness can be a contributing factor towards stress. It's kind of noted that being lonely can have a similar impact of smoking. I think it's 12 to 15 cigarettes a day. I do. I think it's had a significant impact on people anticipating what might happen next, what won't happen next, because they're out of their environment. So normally when you're in an environment, you've got a clear understanding of the business, people, the way things are going, moving forward. But when it's not there and that rapport again isn't there and that kind of team spirit and feeling, I do think it's really impacted on people and their well-being.
My wife's been working, she's on a break now, but she works from home, and I see her constantly having to like solve these problems by herself rather than going, "Jane, I've got this customer that needs help over here." Like, she can't do that. You know?
Yeah.
It's high octane at times. You know, she's passing someone back from the phone, she gets them back, she's typing away on a computer. Like, it's there's a huge amount of pressure on someone having to solve problems by himself, not having their manager something to do with something.
Absolutely, you know?
Yeah. So when it comes to the well-being thing, what do you guys have on offer then? How do people sort of access what you guys are doing?
We have on offer mental health first aid training. So that's similar to a physical first aider.
Yeah, I wrote down here. What's a mental health first aider, and what do they do? I mean,
a mental health first aider is trained to spot the signs of emerging mental health conditions, or somebody could have a mental health condition, and predominantly is to respond to somebody in crisis and to preserve life, to encourage that person to get support, and to get professional help. I use the word encourage, not to tell the person, you need to go to the doctor. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
It's, as I compare it to a physical first aider, Alex, because I'm a physical first aider. And if somebody was to collapse now, I would be the first to respond to that person. For example, if I saw somebody collapse outside, because I can see outside my front window.
Yes.
And I would respond to that person whilst perhaps somebody else is calling for an ambulance. So I would be preserving life for that person in one way or another. That is equivalent to a mental health first aider. It's kind of having the conversation around mental health and encouraging them to get support, like I mentioned a couple of minutes ago.
It's a very specific type of skill to deal with someone when they're in crisis. I mean, I've been there, I've done that, and you're right. You can't be abrupt. You can't be like, "Oh, get a grip, Sharon." You can't be doing all that. You need to get down to their level and sort of slowly sort of get them through this before you can get help to, whether you've rang the crisis team or whether you rang an ambulance. Like, you need to be there to make sure they don't run off or do something silly. I applaud you guys for doing that, because I think there needs to be more people out there that can do this sort of thing, because I've been there. I mean, with my work professionals that I work with, all amazing people dealing with, situations where people are in crisis. It's not easy though. Sometimes it can be emotionally and mentally draining on yourself.
It can.
Yeah, it's very tiring.
And it's actually for the companies as well to identify the key players to build that kind of trust, understanding, and why well-being is kind of integral for core objectives for the company. So it's for the company to assess where are they towards their well-being strategy, where do they want to move to, and what help, support and guidance do they need in training staff. I know there's companies that are so untapped.
Yes.
In kind of, they've had no training around mental health yet. So they will certainly be on our kind of target radar next year to support and guide, hopefully.
Have you seen an increase in companies that weren't very mental health savvy, that have accessed your service and actually made huge improvements? Because we all know that depression can cause a lot of absence from work. It's quite a big thing. So maybe somebody's got in touch with you and gone, we need to get to the bottom of this. Maybe got in touch with you, got some training, and now things are better. Have you noticed anything like that?
Yeah, we've noticed companies reach out. They've started to identify and observe case studies, particularly with PTSD, and they're starting to be proactive. There was one company who really reached out to us to make a difference on a one-to-one coaching level. So I did some mental health coaching for that manager so he could respond to the guy that was dealing with PTSD, which it triggered for some, Alex. It triggered PTSD, and it was mostly in men that we observed.
Yeah.
So yes, we've seen some companies approach us with a more of a proactive approach. How do we do it? When do we do it? What does it entail? How long will it take? And it's been amazing. It really has, to see the progress, because it aids recovery for that person who's experiencing depression, anxiety, PTSD. It can be a support for recovery. You wouldn't go to hospital and come out of hospital with a broken leg without a crutch, would you?
No, exactly.
So exactly the same with PTSD or anything mental health related. What aids what's in the toolbox to support the person, and what the kind of managers need to know. And we've seen more managers approaching us to support other managers, which is fundamental for recovery.
It is good. I read because things are changing. Things are probably going to change again, maybe soon. Maybe people will be forced to go back to the offices. Come out of the lounge now, go to work, go back to work. That's going to be extremely difficult for some people that have got used to
Being at home.
Yeah. Having a podcast on in the background whilst, sitting in your pajamas doing the work, it's going to be a difficult time for people. It's nice to see people adapting, because productivity is important, right? We can talk about mental health, which is obviously the most important thing, but like when you're running a business or when you're trying to, make sure everybody's okay, it's good, like you said, to have the tools to keep everyone ticking over and keeping work going, without being insensitive. Because as we've all worked for insensitive bosses that are like, oh, you can't come in because you're feeling, what I mean? I've seen that. I've seen it. I've seen good bosses as well. So what's your journey been like with this then? Because is this a new thing that Paycare have been doing, or have you been doing it for quite a while now?
I've been at Paycare for over a year now. So I've been doing this for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So it has been a remarkable journey, Alex. Working with the kind of DWP to train their staff, and some other organisation. I'm not sure I'm allowed to say.
If you're not sure, then probably best not. But so you got DWP, which is fine.
Okay, so we've worked with lots of housing organisations, authorities, to improve knowledge and understanding of health and wellbeing and strategies. It's been an interesting journey. I've noted people have walked in the room and it's been a tick box exercise. And I can feel it straight away. When you're in a room, you can feel the vibe. And I've noticed as well at the end of the 2 days, people go out with a completely different mindset towards mental health, particularly towards the language that's used.
Mm-hmm.
One of the kind of activities is around positive language towards mental health and negative language. Well, the list is as long as you're it's very long.
Yeah.
And then when you pose the question to talk about positive language, people are just absolutely, I don't know where to go with it. So that part of the journey is to get people to the destination to understand mental health, which is the fundamental thing in the first place. And they do say sometimes it's really turned the tide here, and how we can talk to people better to support them when they're struggling. So it's been a journey. And I'm allowed to share this one story. I was training at a company and this lady was Scottish and we was doing the part on suicide. And it does suggest in the training that to find out and explore if there's someone with emerging signs of suicide and they're having suicidal thoughts, to then go down the path, have you got a plan? And she was like going, I don't think I can ask someone, have you got a plan? And like she was like, I can't be that direct. Go, have you got a plan? But it is the way forward to kind of, and I did it in a northern accent and not my Scottish.
Oh, that's fine. It's staying in. It's staying anyway. I love it.
But, honestly, Alex, the point of it was, she went, I did it better when I was telling Kev. Kev went, which part of Scotland was she, Kerry? Because he sounds northern to me. No, I did do it better in Scotland. I digress. But it is actually asking, have you got a plan? But she said, because I'm Scottish, it will sound aggressive, Kerry.
Abrupt, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of opened my mindset, Alex, to how could I better deliver that without being direct. And we all kind of just said, I think it's just saying it in a lower tone and exploring.
We've all had a dog run away from us And instead of going, get in, no, you've gone, come on, baby.
Ali.
Come on, baby. You know?
Well, that was me with my daughters many, many years ago. Stop!
Come on, mate, have some treats. And then when the dog gets to you, it's all right, now you're in trouble. You know.
Or as we might put it now, some people have had their Tom Cruise moments.
What's that? Tom Cruise?
He had a moment, didn't he, yesterday?
Did he?
It was shared in the press, yes.
Oh, I'm going to have to check that out. I've got a show I can probably put that on tomorrow.
He really did let rip, let's say.
Oh, is it the COVID thing on set?
Yeah, on set. He really let rip, didn't he? So,
I think he's right to, though. You know, if you've got... yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I'm not like condoning it, but yeah, everyone's had the Tom Cruise moment.
I always remember not Henry Cavill. What's his name? Christian Bale had one a couple of years ago. They were trying to film, and somebody's phone was going off. And he's like, "Going, oh, good for you!" And he's recorded. He's going absolutely mental. But he apologized for it. But then he rang up the Kevin and Bean show, which is a big show in LA, and he reenacted it with them as a joke, just to laugh at himself. To be like, yeah, you get in the heat of a moment, and when you're on the set, and if someone messes you up, that's it. You get angry. You know. Yeah. But no. Yeah, I think when it comes to being direct about things, especially when it comes to mental health and how someone's feeling, what's making them upset, and what the problems in their life, we're British, we're over polite, and we're not direct in our nature. You know, maybe if you're from a different part of the world, where I don't know, New York, here, man, what's the problem, dude? You know, you can kind of be like that, but we're not.
We're Scottish.
We're Scottish.
Okay, what's your plan, Jimmy?
Brilliant. Well done, Kerry. I love it. I do voiceover. I've done a bit of voice acting, and when someone's like, "Do German now," I'm kind of like, das back into Deutsch. Like, it's really hard to get into that. So well done. I appreciate that. So you've been for this amazing journey. Then you've seen people. Lives have been saved, I imagine, with what you've been doing, because I've seen it myself, you know, with mental health, where people are at their lowest. And when you see someone go from their lowest and to a part in their life when they can function and prosper, it's an amazing journey. It's something
it is.
Great
it
to
is.
see.
And I suppose, you know what, well, I'm a lived experience of that, Alex. I've experienced mental health many years ago. So, and I think that's why we've been so successful in securing some of the contracts that we've worked with.
Yeah.
When somebody's standing there sharing their lived experience and their journey to the destination, it gives people that kind of, this is real, rather than just kind of using other analogies around it. You know, I've experienced it, and I've supported both my brothers who've experienced it as well, all as well for completely different reasons, all three of us.
You don't always need a reason either, you know, if you've...
No.
If you've especially got a personality disorder, it can come from anywhere, literally. I mean, this year has been quite difficult for me and my family. Obviously, people that listen to the show will know my situation with the housing, etc. And it's been... I have struggled this year, and I did release a very drunken video on one of my podcast channels. People seem to really like it because I was drunk, but I was very honest, you know. When you've got like a group of people around you that you can confide in, they're your people, and you get to the point where you feel like you can't speak to them anymore because you've done too much. It's good to have that extra sort of whether you ring in the Samaritans or whether you ring in a number or somewhere where you can be anonymous. It's good to have that person to talk to, because there's nothing worse than feeling like you can't speak to your friends and your loved ones, right?
Yes, definitely. It's really good to have, or encourage people to have, that kind of, again, what's in your toolkit for support. I know exactly where you're coming from, where people will start to withdraw, thinking, I've called Alex 6 times this week, I'm struggling, I've called him 6 weeks, he's going to get fed up, I don't want to burden him anymore. It's true, isn't it? You know, so it's really is encouraging people to look for other supports that they can access. And sometimes support groups related to what somebody's going through can be a huge source of support.
Yeah.
It can be a game changer. So it is having all of that knowledge and skills to share with people, so they're aware of what's out there. Because sometimes, Alex, people don't know what is out there and who can support.
Yeah.
So it's having all of that to hand. Should that person think, oh, I'm not going to call Alex again, he's probably sick to the back teeth. You know what I mean? Of hearing it all.
I mean, I've poked fun of it myself, like the "You okay, hun" type. I do it sometimes on Facebook where I'm kind of like, "Arr!" And then there's a lot of if you put a message on Facebook and you're like, "I'm not having a good day," da 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 da. Me and my community and my friends around me, we call it a "You okay, hun" message, right? Because that's the response. You okay, hun? Call me, text me, DM me, but sometimes it's good to have that vent, isn't it, on Facebook? It's like, because I think that is a sign of, I'm struggling, I don't know where to turn, this is a box I'm just going to write in. And it's a good sign to see someone that is actually struggling, and maybe you should drop them a message. I had a moment like that last week, and I was inundated with messages from people that make sure I was okay, which is nice. Thank you.
It's actually, it changes your mindset, doesn't it? And sometimes as well, I hear the converse side of that. From what you've just said, it turns into a positive. But then I've heard read the converse side, that when people are putting on something on Facebook, having a rant, oh, she's off again, what a drama queen. And I just think, oh no, to me it screams potential. It could be, it could kind of start to do, and I just think it screams something. And it's important to respond, as your friends have done, to say, are you okay, hon? And ask twice. And that's another thing I hear. Oh, well, I text so and they didn't message me back. Well, again, Alex, I'd be inclined to text again. I haven't heard of you in a couple of days. How are you doing?
Absolutely.
Checking twice.
It is difficult, especially with social media being what it is, because it is fast. But it's good to have. It's good to have one or two friends. I mean, I would say keep your circle small, because you got those friends you can rely on. When you got so many people around you, I mean, it's nice to have all that. Don't get me wrong, but it's nice to have those people, definitive people you can just go straight to. You guys train for mental health first aiders and have you for companies as well, but you have services that people can access. Should we talk about that?
Yeah, on the Paycare website, there's a Wellbeing box there, and it kind of unpacks the e-clinics, so what we've got coming up next year, the 2-day mental health first aider course, the 1-day champion course, and the half-day. So that's the services at the moment we're offering related to wellbeing, and we're looking to expand that next year. So I'm not going to say anything right now, but we are looking to expand it a little bit more next year with other things. But maybe we could have another get together and explore other things that we'll be doing next year. But fundamentally, those are the key things that we are progressing with to tackle mental health, reduce the stigma, and give people more confidence to understand and support people.
Yeah, I'm on the website now. It's paycare.org. There is a lot on this website, by the way, because Paycare offers so much in way of health and plans to help you with health. But yeah, the wellbeing services there at the bottom. It's got the purple tab above it that says new, and it's all there. And this is something I loved. I saw this on the website. I was like, this is exactly what we need right now, because there's a lot of people struggling out there. And you know what? I've worked with managers that aren't great with mental health. I've worked with managers that are great with mental health, and I can tell you there is a massive difference. So if you've got, if you're running a business, you're quite kind of new to this, I don't know, and you've got people struggling with mental health and you don't know what to do, maybe this is a great thing for you, is to learn to become a healthcare first aider. It'll help people that you work with, and it might help your productivity as well. So I think it's great. Kerry, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for coming. I know you've had a busy schedule, but I've really enjoyed speaking with you. I would love to get you on again, absolutely, in the new year.
Yeah, well, what would be really good if we could do something for or towards men next year.
Me and Shane will be all over that. I'd love that.
And really tackle things towards why men don't talk. To encourage men to talk. Maybe we could do something like that.
I would love that. That would be an amazing. What a great idea! What a great idea! I'm writing that down.
I hope you enjoyed the northern accent, not as much as the Scottish, the northern Scottish that went wrong. But I did ask that lady as well. I said, "Do you mind if I use this bit of material whilst in training?" And she went, "Yeah,
it's important."
I'm not going to do the accent again. She was from Hamilton.
Okay.
Which she said it was the other side of the Clyde where that I'm not quite sure where, but she was, she was like, yeah, absolutely, because she said we did laugh afterwards, with a direct. Have you got a wee plan there?
A plan. Hey, I do get you though with the harshness of accents. My wife's from Colombia, and sometimes, she's gone. I can't see behind me, because it's back. She's disappeared. So sometimes I'll be like, "Yo, do you want a cup of tea?" And she'll speak harshly, but that's not her. That's just her accent, Yeah. It's an interesting. It is an interesting, and I think a very valid point that you brought up. I struggle with accents. I'm a voice actor. I do these things, and I do like a live show, and someone will be like, "Go on, give us an accent, Al," and I'll struggle. I'll just fall flat on my face. I'm used to it. It's hard, yeah. Before we get out of here, I want to say a huge congratulations to Beth Thief, Katie Rink, and everybody that's taken part in Carols on the Doorstep. It was just so beautiful. I couldn't take part in it yesterday because I was sleeping off a night shift. So apologies for me not being there and being able to sort of get involved. But you guys have raised awareness about what you guys are doing across the country. They were on the One Show, the BBC were there, they were recording people singing on their doorsteps. It was amazing. Well done for championing Shrewsbury and this great idea, because now everybody across the country is doing it. So well done.
Amazing.
Brilliant, yeah. And I think there's another one going on Christmas Eve, I do believe. So go on to My Shrewsbury website, or even on their Facebook. And on Shropshire Festivals as well, have a look. There's lots of information as to the next one that's going to be appearing. And everybody just goes on the doorstep and they sing. And everybody did this across the nation. It was fantastic. And it started.
Fantastic.
I also want to give people a chance to check out our website, which is www.theshrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk, made for us by our friends at Web Orchard. If you need a website, check them out. They'll help you out. Kerry, thank you so much for joining me.
Always a pleasure, Alex.
Yeah. Quick reminder, it's paycare.org/wellbeing. Check that out. It might help you. Thank you very much, guys. And we'll catch you next time. Peace out.
Have a great Christmas, Alex. I hope the house move goes successfully.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be fine. It's going to be fun and games. But hey, as long as we're in there, I don't care.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, guys. Peace out.